Hey everybody, Matt Scalogli here with SRP Medical Marketing and the Warner James Group with another video here for you. And this one is, I'm going to ask you a really simple question. And the question is are you committed? Are you committed? Now, I'm not talking about committed from the standpoint of, are you crazy? You might be. You might think you are if you're an entrepreneur and you own your own practice. You might think that some days it might have been easier just to go work in the hospital or with a big group. But I'm talking about, are you committed to really grow your practice? Now, I already know that you already work long hours. I've yet to meet a doctor that doesn't, quite frankly. It's just ingrained into you from the moment that you start going through pre-med and medical school and doing your residency. And it's almost like this badge of honor, how many hours doctors can work, or DOs can work, or PAs can work without the sleep and making all the sacrifices that they make. And again, I was married to an ER nurse and saw the 12-hour shifts and the amount of work that she did and all of that. That's not the kind of commitment I'm talking about. Lord knows you spend a lot of time seeing patients and running from room to room and filling out charts and all of that. But I'm talking about the commitment. I'm talking about a different kind of commitment. And that commitment is for you to make the changes that you need to make in order for you to become and have a successful practice. Let me explain, okay? A few years ago, when I opened up our first erectile dysfunction clinic, I had a business partner. And all I wanted to do is I just wanted to focus on the marketing and the revenue. That's all I wanted to do, okay? And my business partner wasn't there a lot. He would float in and out, very inconsistent, very different from a leadership style. Didn't really hit, and these are not knocks on him. He just wasn't his strength, okay? Nice enough guy. But what I was asked a question by our controller one day, and we didn't have leadership. What we had is we had abdication. We weren't leading at all. We were abdicating our roles. And we were just kind of sort of hoping that everything was going to work organically. And the reality was it wasn't really working organically. It was kind of a hodgepodge, mishmash, Hungarian goulash of crap. And it frankly wasn't working, and there was no way we were going to be able to scale with all the crap we had going on. There were inconsistent ways to do things. There was very low levels of leadership. We didn't have any metrics of how we were measuring the success of the business. We really, quite frankly, had crappy financials. They were basically, the kind of financials I'm talking about. The yellow legal pad. That's when you sit there and you go, okay, rent costs this much, and I made this much, and payroll's this much, and like that kind of budgeting. And I got asked this question by two people. I got asked this question by my controller, who we had just hired. And I got asked this question by my longtime mentor, Rob Berkeley, who's since passed away. Or as we like to call him, Yoda, because he looked just like him. And he asked me the question. He said, Matt, someone has to lead your company. And it's not something you necessarily can abdicate or step back from. It has to be one of the partners who has the money in it, okay? So now in the future, you certainly can hire somebody who is going to run the day-to-day, without a doubt. You can hire managers and things like that. But from a strategy, from a vision, from a culture, somebody, one of the partners, has to be the CEO. It is in the best interest because you don't have the money to hire the kind of CEO that you would need in order to run the organization. And he was right, we didn't. We were like, this was a startup. We did this on credit cards, quite frankly. Luckily in the first month, we did $30,000 in revenue. I forget what the number is. It was a lot. And within a couple of months, we were doing $200,000 a month. I mean, things were hopping. But he asked me that question, and I thought about it really, really hard. And I thought about it for a really long time because I didn't want to take on another leadership role. I've been a leader my whole life, okay? And I've kind of been a reluctant leader. I was a leader in my fraternity house. I was, vice president of my pledge class. I was I was on committees. I was, with school, I was head of my student organization. I was the president of the student organization. I've always been in leadership positions, always. I was a head pro at a very young age, much younger than the industry average. I was a general manager, even younger. I mean, all of these things, I've always been a leader, okay? And I was thinking to myself, I didn't want to be a leader again, okay? And I decided that no one was going to be able to run my company as well as me. So that brings me to you, okay? When you decided to become a doctor, you committed the time, the money, the energy, and the resources to become a doctor, right? You did the work, you went to school, you did residency, you studied hard, you got your degree, and then you had this other dream. And this dream was to have your own practice. And maybe you're in partnership with a couple of other doctors or, however it is, but you're on this video because you decided that you wanted something different, right? You didn't want to necessarily work for the big hospital group. You wanted and felt that your way to financial freedom was through owning your own practice. You felt that your best way to serve patients was through owning your own practice, right? So you made the decision. You've already made one decision. You've made this decision that you are going to be an entrepreneur, a docpreneur, or an entremedical, whatever you want to call it. You're an entrepreneur and you're a doctor. You're a very, very unique breed. And that means you've got to do a little bit more and expect a little bit more from yourself. Now, I don't expect you to understand marketing and revenue production and starting companies as well as I do. I've been doing this for 20 plus years. I've invested well over $350,000 in my personal education in this. And that's not a joke. I have as much money in this learning how to become an entrepreneur and marketer as you do become a doctor, okay? But when I decided to own a medical practice, at first I tried to abdicate my knowledge and understanding of what we did. I didn't pay any attention to it. And I realized I couldn't do that. Now, I couldn't be as good as my doctors, right? They have the medical training. I don't. But I certainly had to get past a number of my fears, my beliefs. I've always been queasy around needles. I've never really been one who has enjoyed blood. And you know what? Once I decided to accept it, I love the medical space now. Nothing really freaks me out. I've seen all kinds of weird things. Probably not as many weird things as you have. I know I haven't seen as many weird things as you have. I mean, many of you probably did residency in like really bad ERs. But my point in this is very simple. You have to decide if you are 100% committed, okay? So this is the question I ask all the time. When it comes to running a more profitable practice, an income producing practice that's making you money, is this something you want, where you are right now, is this something you want to change, okay? Or is this something you want to talk about? There you go. Is this something you want to change? Or is this something you want to talk about? Because those are two very different answers. If this is something you want to talk about, great, fine, watch the videos. Great, I hope I can help. Maybe somewhere along the line you'll say, you know what, I want to change. But it's not until you decide that you want to change something that you will take the steps to change it. If you're just gathering information because you think that the gathering information is going to be really, really cool, okay, go right ahead. I can tell you the transformation happens when you decide to change. Not change those around you, not change your staff, not change your focus, but change you. To do the work that you have to do in order for you to run a successful practice. This is not something you can abdicate to Judy or Frank, okay? As great a practice managers as they may be, this is not something that you can abdicate because at the end of the day, you're gonna be making the decisions and you have to be informed, okay? So I'm gonna leave you with that. My question to you, again, is this something you want to change or is this something you want to talk about? Leave your comments below. I'd love to see it. Because if this is something you want to change, I'm all in, all right? And I'm all in with you if you choose to work with me. There's gonna be a link for a LinkedIn group that you can join, and I look forward to talking to you there. Thanks.